In terms of a management technique or strategy, I don't think I have a particular model that I follow. I think for me, a massive thing about the way I like to work is that I like to get people to understand the reasons for doing something. So whether it may be changing the layout of a shop, or completing MURs, or doing a complete refit of a branch, if someone understands the reasons why we need to make that change, or we need to do that certain step, then it's more likely that that task will be completed. And that's, I think, probably a key part of the way I like to work, in terms of explaining to people the reasons for the change, or the reasons for the step that needs to be taken. And then it's a case of how do we then make sure that people are on board. I think especially sometimes we can go in and say, I think I've done it in the past, where I can go in and say this needs to be done, walk away, come back in a week, 2 weeks, a month later, and things haven't been done. It's then things haven't been planned. I think planning's always key, whether it's me having a conversation with somebody, or a manager having a conversation with somebody, with a member of their staff. Planned conversations are always more likely to work. So that's something that I firmly believe in. And if a manager does have a query or a question, I like to be in a position where I can lead by example. So even if it's a case of somebody has a difficult conversation to have with a member of staff, if it's something as simple as, oh, so-and-so down the road has had that conversation, why don't you speak to them? Or I've had that conversation 2 years ago and I handled it in this way. It's giving people who may not have encountered that particular problem or that particular challenge before, but giving them a way that they can see, actually, so-and-so's done it, whether it be branch A down the road or myself as their line manager has done it. So if I adopt a similar sort of process, it should be something that I can do. And I think that's big for me. So in terms of my management technique or strategy, it's a case of people understanding the reasons for the task that needs to be completed. Planning is always key, because a planned task will always be something that will work better. And I think the third thing that I've briefly touched on is making sure that people utilise the skills around them. So whether it be the skill of the team that they've got immediate line manager control over, or whether it be somebody else in a similar position elsewhere. As area managers, we talk pretty much daily, on a daily basis, in terms of bouncing ideas off each other. And sometimes the solution to a particular problem doesn't come when you're thinking about it at work. It comes when you're just bouncing ideas of somebody else. And they may say, have you considered this? Or have you ever done this before? Or a few months back I did it this way. And I think that's something that I like to use as well. And that's a big thing about how I like to manage my branches and my people. In terms of charity of my choice, I think a key one for me is the NSPCC, just for the impact that they can have on the lives of young children and what is a future generation for all of us. They can help to support them and make sure that children have the right start in life sometimes. And I think sometimes things don't go quite in terms of the plan and how everyone would like, but someone like the NSPCC is quite good for helping people and getting them out of situations and providing the support. But in terms of charity as such, I'm a big believer in charity, in terms of helping people who are underprivileged than yourself, whether it be the NSPCC or whether it be something that's on your doorstep or the other side of the world. I think in terms of the way, sort of the ideal way the world should work is that people who are better privileged should be in a position to help others. But it's something that's very good for me, and I'll never walk past a charity box, whatever they be collecting for, without putting some money in, because for me it may be small change, but for somebody else it could be the difference between food, life, or or something, medicine. It could be anything. And even somewhere like near to where I live is the food bank in Eastleigh. It's a massive thing that for me, a tin of beans or a packet of pasta could be nothing that's too major, but for somebody else that could be the difference between having something to eat for a week or having something to something to drink. Or it's a very big thing that I believe in, that if you are in a privileged position, you'd be able to help somebody else. In terms of being a man of few words, I think there's a time and place for both. I think sometimes that you can talk quite freely and have a bit of a laugh and a joke, and sometimes talking freely is often the immediate reaction or the immediate thought to a particular scenario. But I do tend to reflect quite a lot, and I think reflection is a big part of the way that I work, and quite also the type of person that I am. I like to reflect on particular scenarios, and sometimes having a brief pause before blurting something out can have a massive impact in terms of the way you may say something, or coming out with a comment that actually makes a lot more sense and is more considered, rather than having the immediate first thing that comes to mind. But I don't work one particular way than the other. There are times when it will be straight what's on the tip of my tongue, and that will come out. But it will depend on the particular scenario, I suppose. I think in terms of the qualities I value in people, for me, a big one is honesty, because in terms of getting by in life, the more honest people are, the easier it is to get things done. I think for me, once I can understand a person is honest, and I sort of quickly get to grips with, actually, I believe in this person, I can trust in this person, I can now take this person's words and sort of go forward with them. I think that's a big thing for me. I really believe in honesty in people. And also, as well as that, I think another quality that I like is people being open. Honesty and being open with people are probably the two qualities that I like, because they have the biggest impact on the way that I like to work and things I like in people. Family, I'm married with a little boy who's 20 months now, so he keeps me entertained, and likewise my wife keeps me entertained and grounded at the same time. My little boy's name's Shiv, my wife's name's Anita. Anita is also a pharmacist. She works at the South Hants Hospital as the HIV and sexual health pharmacist. Shiv's a little monkey, and he's spent a lot of his time liking to be a party animal at night rather than playing at daytime. So that's another part of my life that keeps me grounded. And people ask how I can sleep at night when there are so many branches and so many issues, and I think he's a big part. Okay. In terms of faith, faith's very personal to me. Is a big thing for me, and throughout my life I've been sort of at both aspects of faith. I've been along the lines of there's a God and everything's sort of governed by God, and then to the extreme of there isn't a God. Everything just happens the way it happens, and I've been sort of everywhere in between. For me, I was brought up a Hindu, and it's still sort of the faith that I follow and sort of various aspects for it. And it's a big comfort to me at times. It's something that I start my day with a prayer. I like to end it with a prayer, and it gives you support and sometimes guidance during the day and during sort of your life. But for me, faith is, as I said, it's very personal. And what I don't believe in is blind faith. For me, faith is there to help and support you, but blind faith is where someone will blindly follow something, and things are never challenged. And I think sometimes faith as such is a common ideal, and I think it needs to be challenged by people in terms of how things move forward and how people view things. And sometimes faith can, someone in a position of power as such could say, you need to do this, or you need to act in this way, and people believe in it blindly. And I think sometimes that's a big challenge. But for me, faith is a massive part of my life, and I'm not by any respects a practicing Hindu, but it's something that I believe in. It has its role in my life and a position in my life, and it's a big comfort tool. And also, for me, as well as being a comfort tool when things are bad, for me, I like to say thank you when things are good as well. Because I think if you're forever saying, please help me get through this, help me get through that, help with this, I think it's a bit of both. Same with anything, you need to sort of go through both sides. Otherwise, if one side sort of dominates, it's never a good thing. In terms of other interests, I suppose my biggest passion is football. I spent years when I was younger playing a great deal of football. Not as much now because sort of things such as family and work take over a great deal, but did a great sort of decent period of time playing Sunday League football, and sort of from the age of sort of 13 through to sort of 20s played a good deal of Sunday football. And for my sins, I'm a Liverpool fan, and next year is always our year, as I think most Liverpool fans like to believe, but we'll wait and see how this year pans out. In terms of other things, I like to follow cricket, and summer's always a great time because there's just so much cricket about sort of here and in the country, and sort of going. I've even been abroad to watch cricket. I've been to the World Cup a few years ago when it was in Barbados and Antigua, and I like cricket. I like to follow it, and for me, I like watching the game. I'm not going to lie and say I understand every single rule that's there, but the social aspect of just going to the match and seeing a group of sort of sportsmen play, but more than that, going to a ground and just getting on with people around you. Sometimes with football, you can go and it's very tribal football. It's sort of us versus them, where somewhere like cricket, you can spend the whole day having a bit of banter with the person next to you. You can say whatever you like, but at the end of the day, there's a handshake and you walk home. And I really enjoy cricket for that aspect of it all, the sportsman-like conduct. Another big thing for me is music. I listen to a wide range of music, whether it be sort of traditional Indian music through to house, sort of trance and sort of rap and everything. I have such a wide choice in music that it's actually takes a lot of people by surprise when they go through my music collection. I play a number of Indian instruments as well, which I've done so for a good few years, and that's something that it's something that I haven't had lessons as such. I've tried to sort of self-teach myself where possible, but it does get to a stage where I would like to have lessons in some of them, but they're probably my biggest passions are sort of football, cricket and music.